We're recording now, but we're not quite live yet. So
Okay.
if you need to take a pee, now's the time.
Nope, I'm good.
Okay.
I'll just sit here and do it here.
Yeah, perfect. Got a cup. It's fine. Waiting for my page. There it is. We are live with another episode of Five Methods to Being a Better SCA Fighter, or fighter in general. And tonight we have a pretty interesting episode. I'm pretty excited to hear what a close friend and brother of Black Company has to say. He's a dirty mercenary who was recently elevated to master, and he doesn't like to brag about it because that's who he is. However, he has had a lifetime experience of martial arts and has been playing in the SCA for several years, probably longer than most of us have been. I know, especially for me, him and I have been playing together since about, I'd say 2006, 2000, 2005, 2006, 2003. Yeah, okay, there you go, 2003. Um, he has helped me through a lot of things in life, inside and outside the game, and is continuing to inspire me personally. Without further ado, here is Master Lash on his 5 methods. So go ahead and give us a brief introduction and
All
have at
right.
it, brother.
Thank you for what you said too, bro. Because you're actually inspiring, doing things now that are inspiring to all of us, and we really appreciate it. Doing it because with all the things that are going on, we need this outlet, and I just wanted
Absolutely.
to make sure everybody knows that it's pretty amazing what you do. And
Thank you.
then make sure to get on your YouTube page and look at all the videos on your YouTube page, and along with the fighting and all that, your personal trainer page too.
Thank you.
You guys got to see this stuff. It's really good. So my name's Lash. I've been in the SCA for 30, going on 34 years.
Mhm.
I've moved around a lot. So I've been in, multiple kingdoms, fought in multiple kingdoms, was a mercenary all that time. Didn't start out very well in the SCA, mainly just through one, being a mercenary, two, being the guy out in a pup tent eating raviolis out of a can, and having carpet armor even up until the mid 90s. Because I didn't have the stuff. But one of the things that taught me uh, was how to survive on my own, how to do things on my own, how to fight on my own. And also what helps with that was martial arts. I've been in martial arts all my life since I was little. It was required by my dad and my mother for us to be in sports or in martial art. So I've been in 7 different martial arts: judo, temple kung fu, muso kwan taekwondo, tai chi chuan, which is going through all of them. Tai chi chuan's always been the backbone. Kendo, Goju karate for 15 years, and now currently, since for the last 10 years or so, is Tenshin Aikido. So martial arts, they do help in the SCA, and they really do help in the fighting, but sometimes they're also a detriment. So it's really tough to translate these martial arts into the SCA, but you can find your way, and it's all on how to do it in your own comfort level. So with that, I'm also a war dog. I am a war fighter. I'm a old school shield crashing, tower climbing, you know, wall jumping.
Diving headfirst into the shield wall,
You bet. That's it.
over our shield wall.
And actually, technically that doesn't take a lot of skill. It really doesn't. But the thing about it is, you create your own. You create your own situations. You create your own places to shine, and those things, when you do those things, uh, bring attention to you from like-minded people. That's how I found, or how Black Company found me. And and how I became, friends with them, and then eventually became Black Company. Um, and but just going along with what we're talking about here, the five things, the five methods. Um, I have fought many tourneys. I have fought a lot of tourneys, but they were tourneys for, say, cancer tourneys, benefit tourneys, any, all the
Wow.
Australia Wharf tourneys, for years and years and years. Um, but I didn't fight in crowns. I didn't fight in coronets, and it's not until recently that I've actually started fighting in crowns. And as I started fighting in crowns, I learned a whole different world. It's a whole different world between war fighting and tourney. But
Mhm.
war fighting does benefit you on the tourney field, and vice versa. Um, but the but I mean, I've had people come up to me when I fought at crowns and ask me why I'm so calm. How can I be so calm when it's the first crown or the second crown that I fought in? And I tell them it's because of this these simple things that I do uh, in order to become calm. So I guess that would be a good segue into my five.
Mhm.
And um, uh, these are going to be kind of odd. Some of them maybe even controversial. Some of you may not like it, but this is just what works for me. And this is mainly for also beginning fighters, medium fighters. Um, the guys that have been on here before me, you know, Duke Dietrich, Duke Sean, Duke Paul. These guys are amazing teachers, and to follow them is pretty daunting, almost like being an attorney yourself or getting ready for attorney right now,
Absolutely.
because you're going to be compared to these guys, and they are all amazing people, not only on the field but off the field and in mundane life. They are amazing people.
Mhm.
Um, so in that respect, the things that I'm going to focus on are not what they focused on, because they can do it better than me. They can teach you better than I can for certain things. So what I'm going to be talking about are the things that would help you, uh, and what helps me to get understanding and to mentally prepare for things for attorneys or for melee for that matter. So these will all come together, and you'll see where they come together. But my first one is war fighting in relation to tourney fighting. Both are similar, a lot more similar than you think. Tourney is harder, in my opinion, because you can hide a lot in melee, and your brothers can cover
Absolutely.
your butt a lot in melee. You can't hide in tourney. Because you're up there, you're up front and center, and everybody sees you. You can't
Absolutely.
hide anything from it. So to me, it's harder in your mind, on your mindset, than it is in melee.
Mhm.
Um, because you can also make mistakes in melee and survive. you know, Not so
Absolutely.
much in tourney. So tactics is part of the war fighting and relates to tourney fighting. In the tactics, you kind of have to think out of the box and to find out how things work for you,
Mhm.
and not do the tried and true or the same old thing like in melee when two opposing forces hit each other. One exploits a flank, and then they do the swirling toilet of doom, and we all know what that is. We see it all time and time and time again. We don't want to do that. We want to one, know how to stop that, and two, learn something else because it's expected. Um, and so you got to think out of the box on those things.
Mhm.
Um, you know the same thing goes to tourney. The same old is sometimes frustrating in tourney, where you have one opponent throws one blow, the other opponent throws one blow, they step back. One throws one blow, one throws one blow, they step back, and
Mhm.
that's the whole fight. Back and forth, back and forth, and that is the same thing as the swirling toilet of doom. It's the same thing, and I think you need to start thinking out of the box on that, the same way that you would in melee when you're either running a crew or running a unit, or if you're just a lineman shield guy sitting on a line. It's the same thing, to help think out of the box and do something different that will shock them or cause a victory moment.
Absolutely.
And to me, it's also the same. If you were to look above a war and you see two opposing forces coming at each other, and they're doing, you have a middle group, that's your shield. You have another cavalry unit, that's your sword. And if you were to impose the bodies of two fighters on top of your vision of this two opposing forces, it's the same thing as a tourney fight. You have something blocking, something striking,
Mm-hmm.
something feinting. It's just all the same until you can strike something home into the center and cause a victory moment. And to me, that's the same. And you can look at it in the same way. So fighting tourneys in that aspect helps you on the warfield, because you can apply both of those principles. So to me, though, seriously, I think tourney is it just harder on your faculties, on your mental state than melee. And because in melee, you have people who stand next to you and got your back, and they make you feel safe.
Absolutely.
At least we have that in Black Company.
Oh yeah.
None of us worry when we're on the field. We don't worry about anything because our brothers got our back.
Yep.
And not so much on the tourney field. There you're standing on your own. You're doing it on your own, and there's plenty of time to second guess yourself, or let the brain weasel start eating away at your head.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can face 3 or 4 or 5 guys on the tourney field, on the melee field,
Mm-hmm.
when you go to tourney, face it the same way, except for you only have one guy now.
Yeah.
And look at it at that way, as one guy. So what that brings me to is my second one.
Let me interject really quick.
Sure.
So I think what I'm hearing from it is when you, and what I've heard in previous episodes too, is when you're fighting in a melee, you have to be a lot more alert of what's going on. Not so much necessarily what's in front of you, but what's going on to the left, 5 guys to the left and 5 guys to the right. And I'm just throwing a number
Exactly.
out there. But it makes you more alert in a tournament setting, because then you're not strictly focusing on one point of that person's body per se. You're actually seeing in your peripheral vision of what's happening. So I think I agree with
Absolutely.
you wholeheartedly when it comes to that. And coming from, I mean, me coming from a solid melee background, never wanting to fight in a tournament in my life, to fighting in a couple tournaments here and there, to then working a little bit with Duke Sean and focusing strictly on my pel work. As I think that is, my background has significantly helped in where I'm going in my progress, not my success, but in my progress of
Absolutely.
becoming a fighter.
I call it situational awareness.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
When situational awareness, for those who don't know, is being able to see the whole instead of the tree, seeing the whole forest instead of the tree, and being able to use your peripheral vision without focusing on your peripheral vision, and know and sense when there's threats coming in, especially in melee fighting, or in war fighting. You can feel there's movement over here, somebody's doing something over here or over here, and you react to that. And it's the same thing in tourney fighting, that you broaden your vision and see their feet, see their shoulders, see their hips, see the center of their body. Where is it moving? Are they sliding their feet one way or another? Are they flowing towards you, flowing back from you? Are they cocking their shoulder before they feint? Are they dropping a shoulder before they feint?
Yep.
Are they dead? What are their tells? What are these? So that all just kind of meshes into that, and that's absolutely correct. And that's the way that I feel about it.
So then, how would you? So, in terms of going from melee to a tournament setting, we see the advantages. But what are the advantages of going from a tournament to a melee setting, would you say?
Mechanics, body mechanics, fighting mechanics, being able to last longer in a fight.
Okay.
Because in a tournament, you're fighting against another guy. It may be a minute and a half, maybe. So in a war, depending on the scenarios, you could go half an hour, a half an hour resurrection battle, and you have to, in order to Last, you have to use economy of motion. You have to be very, very cognizant of what you're doing, how much you're doing, and what your conditioning level is, and what your fatigue level is.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is um, extremely important. That's why my second one is conditioning. Um, and my second one is conditioning matters. Is basically what I'm saying. Number
Mm-hmm.
two, conditioning matters.
Yep.
Not just pel work, other physical conditioning, and just as important, mental conditioning. I'm not, pel work is crucial. I mean, absolutely, pel work is crucial.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you need it to learn, your chores and weapon style, whatever it is. You need it to learn what your limitations are in any given situation. But there's a lot more people who are extremely gifted at teaching pel work, and it's not me. And so I'm not going to touch on that too much because I mean, watch Duke Sean's videos,
Oh, absolutely.
get Duke Paul's books, hit those. They can say that much better than I can. You
Don't
know,
reinvent the wheel.
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing the stuff and how easily they can teach it to you. That's where I go to. Any of the people out there that I've trained, that I've taught how to fight, the first thing they get Duke Tamuki's videos, they get Duke Paul's videos,
Oh,
they
yeah.
get from when he had his website, the Bellatrix Fighting School,
Mm-hmm.
from Duke Sean's videos. Those all go out to him the first thing right off the bat. Matter of fact, I think I even sent them to you at some point.
Probably. Duke Tamuki's for sure. Because I was
Yeah, absolutely.
looking at Fighting Glaive, and you were like, "Go watch this guy's videos."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For great sword, bastard sword, Mark Arundel, people like that. They so it's extremely important to do pel work, and it's also, just to touch on it a little bit, it's extremely important to do it well and to do it carefully.
Mm-hmm.
Save your body. I'm 54 years, excuse me, going to be 52, I think. Almost said 54, but I'm going to be 52 here pretty quick. Um,
Going on 12.
and I'm starting to feel it. And so I need to be careful. I need to be more efficient in my fighting,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to do more conditioning. And along with what I'm saying about conditioning is, you're, so first I don't have time most of the time to work out. And I know that's
Ah, la la
it's an
la la
excuse.
la 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 la.
Oh no, it's a total excuse. Absolutely, it's a total excuse. Because it's either I don't have time or I just choose not to
Sure.
after I get done working a day. You know what I'm talking about. You get done working, you get home,
Absolutely. Oh,
you
yeah.
don't want to do that.
Last thing you want to do is go hit the gym.
Yeah, and you're just like,
Absolutely.
you're wore out,
Yep.
you're tired, you're sore, you're beat up.
Mm-hmm.
But so what I do instead is I actually do my conditioning at work while I'm working. I actually do it while I'm working, and I do it in an odd way. In Goju karate,
Uh-huh.
there's a training regimen called supplemental conditioning. Okay, it's called Hojo Undo and Kigo Undo. And Hojo Undo is supplemental tools that Okinawans trained with. They basically trained with whatever they could get their hands on, whether it's 150-pound boat chains, links to uh, paddles, boat paddles, oars, anything they could find. They trained with it to train their body and to do
Mm-hmm.
conditioning. I use shovels. You have a shovel, you're using a shovel, do some flat snap with that shovel or do your 3-minute pel work routine from Duke Sean. Do that right there, right then
Absolutely.
for 3 minutes, and then keep going on your work. I've gotten some odd looks, by the way, when I'm doing this stuff.
Oh, I
But
hear you.
yeah, cleaning pools. I'm a maintenance guy. I do
Yeah.
maintenance at a property management company for apartments. And one of the things I do is I do pool work. I clean the pools, I brush the pools. They have these big, long 16-foot poles, that you can change the lengths on. I use those and I do glaive work with them. I do specifically glaive because I am a glaive fighter. Just so you
Absolutely.
know, I am a glaive fighter.
A damn
I'm
good
either
one.
glaive. I've actually fought with everything. I started out Mason Shield, changed to Mason Axe, changed to dual sword. Florentine did Great Sword, and then I saw this guy at a war just decimating people with this strange bladed weapon, and I tracked him down. I said, I got to know what that is, and he said, oh, it's a naginata,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, you've got to build, you got the build for it. You should try it. And so he helped me for about half an hour, 45 minutes, worked with me and said, hey, you got an aptitude for this. You really should get you one of these. And I told him I couldn't afford it. I'm in carpet armor. I'm in,
Right.
the stick that I had, I actually asked somebody if I could have it because I couldn't buy it. Well, he
Yeah.
gave me that glaive. He gave me that naginata. And later on, didn't know who it was until later on I heard somebody talking about it. I saw the guy. I was like, yeah, that's the guy who gave me that naginata. Yeah. Well, that's Duke Paul with Bellatrix.
Isn't that the same naginata that you used? Like you just kept adding layers upon layers of duct tape for like 8 years or so or more, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Weighed like
Yeah.
30 pounds by the time
Yeah.
you were done with it.
Yeah. Yes. And I never got to actually meet him again and see him again to thank him because he saved my SCA career for me. Because I was
Wow.
done. I was done. I was so done because I wasn't treated well. I wasn't I wasn't having fun, and I was almost done. And then this guy, who is this uber amazing guy, took the time to teach some nobody kid how to fight, and then gave him a weapon. You know, it revitalized my belief that there are good people out there.
Absolutely.
But being a kid, being stupid, I kept that chip on my shoulder from all what we used to call hats and belts. I kept that chip on my shoulder for a long time, and it was negative. It was I didn't have a good opinion of knights or anybody wearing a hat. I didn't have any respect for them. I wasn't disrespectful to them, but I didn't have any respect for them, and I would always bring up, how this person was bad, this person was bad, that person was bad. That, but now that is was one of the worst things I could ever have done. And luckily, again, an amazing person came to me and pulled me out of that and said, "Look, I'm gonna show you some knights. To speak to this one, speak to this one, speak to this one. These guys are all great guys." And I'm like, "Wow, these guys are all great guys." I could have known those guys years prior if it wasn't for my own prejudices. I could have known those people,
Yeah.
and so it's a regret that I have. But sorry, I kind of got off on a tangent.
You're
But
good, man. It's all
um,
good.
the so we were on tools and stuff like that. But as a glaive fighter, I work on glaive stuff.
Absolutely.
So with the pool brush, when I'm brushing, I'm doing deep lunges. I'm doing all my exercises that I normally do with the glaive on the pedal, and I have resistance because of the water.
Mm-hmm.
So and I'll do that. We have 2 pools, so I do it 15 minutes for every pool at each pool.
So
Um,
you actually get in the like I know you
no,
clean pools. You don't get in the pool and do it,
correct.
or you do or you don't.
No, I do not get in the pool.
Okay.
I'm on the side, so I'm walking around and I'm brushing the walls
Okay.
at the
So you're
bottom.
you're going through the
And
motions as you're cleaning. Okay, got it.
right,
Smart.
and you do perfect form or try to do perfect form, even when just brushing.
Okay.
Even the motion of brushing and swooping that brush out is a butt spike,
It's very
one that
much
you've
Mr.
experienced,
Miyagi.
right?
Like
One that you have experienced, that butt
absolutely.
spike.
Yeah.
You know,
It's the same
it's the same
concept.
thing.
Yeah.
And then you
Okay.
switch hands, you do it in the other hand. You do it more on your off side than you do your right side, whatever is your off arm.
Absolutely.
That's training. It's training with whatever tools you have on hand.
So if you guys
Uh,
have seen the new movie Karate Kid with Will Smith's son and Jackie Chan, how he
No,
tells him,
I haven't seen
hang
that
the
yet.
coat, take the coat off. Hang the coat, take the coat off. Essentially, he's teaching him how to block. When somebody grabs your hands, I don't
Oh,
remember how exactly they grab your hands, you put the coat on,
yeah.
and then there's some rinse and repeat. I don't remember how it goes, but it's the same concept he's talking about. I'm sure everybody else can relate.
Okay, now I gotta watch it.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. So it's the new Karate Kid. So I mean, it's not new, but it's
Same thing.
new-ish.
A pole cutter for trees, trimming limbs. The ones you extend out. It's got a cutter on the end of it. Well, you can also use that like a pike. You can snap off tree limbs by doing pike shots with it. I do that. Paint buckets, 5-gallon paint buckets.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm painting in a unit, I got 5-gallon paint buckets full of paint. You're talking 50 pounds each, easy.
Oh yeah.
You take those, you walk up the stairs, left foot first, not right foot, left foot first. You walk up the stairs in your fighting stance, centered, balanced, 70-30, and you do slow, even, balanced steps upstairs, up to the second floor.
Mm-hmm.
And you go uber slow. And
Traditional monk
so
training.
you're conditioning your whole body. You're doing
Right.
breathing, deep breathing exercises. You're using your core, not your frame, and you're carrying those up to the unit. When I get inside, I walk them inside nice and slow, doing my fighting stance, my fighting walk, and then slowly set them on the floor, as slow as possible. Take
Mm-hmm.
10, 15, 20 seconds to set them down, and then relax. And that's kind of, it's the only kind of training that can just get in there.
Tempo work. Tempo
Yeah,
work
same
is
thing.
phenomenal.
Same thing with 1-gallon paint cans. 1-gallon paint cans are like kettlebells.
Mm-hmm.
They're almost exactly like a kettlebell. You can do kettlebell
Absolutely.
work with 1-gallon paint cans. So
Yes,
I'll
you
do
can.
that if they're on hand, I'll do that for a little while.
Yep. Smart.
So any tool that you're using, you can do work. Even right now, sitting at your desk, there's something here you can pick up and use for training.
Marker.
Yeah, take that marker and hold it out straight out to your side, completely,
Flex.
and then hold it there, and then keep
Flex
it there.
every muscle in your arm for as long as
And
you
hold it
can.
there. And if you were to put it on the palm of your hand,
Yeah.
put it on the palm of your hand and hold it out. How long can you hold it out there?
Not very long.
Yeah, and that's training.
Here we go.
And that leads directly into Kigo Undo. And Kigo Undo is supplemental training without tools.
Yeah.
No tools. You don't have anything. You don't have any workout equipment. You don't have any of this sort of stuff. So you got to figure out a way to train.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do instead is try next time you're walking, you have to focus on this. Next time you're walking, step an extra inch every time. Just an extra inch, 1 inch. You can mark it out so you can feel how far that is, and
Mm-hmm.
step that out and do that for, like, I pick up trash every day, and it's exactly 7,500 steps.
Yeah.
And you do that every day, but you step that extra inch.
Yeah.
That extra inch gives you an incredible amount of core work and hip work, and lower back work. Because let me tell you, by the time you're done, you know it.
This marker is giving me a hell of a shoulder workout, just so you guys know.
Yeah, and exactly. And so it's something that you can do without having to work out, right? And that's what I need, because when I get home, I don't want to do anything, and like
I wouldn't either if I was doing all these workouts at work.
Yeah, opening a door with your left hand, or if you're right-handed, open a door with your left hand. Do work with tools if you're working with tools or whatever, with your left hand only. Brush your teeth, shave, do all these different things with your left hand, and train your left hand to do the things that your right hand does.
Wow.
And that helps you for switch training, for offside to onside, for switching your stances while you're fighting. It just helps with eye-hand coordination. And then along with that, while you're doing all those, you can work on core work, on your core with breathing, and even just deep breathing and flexing all the muscles that you possibly can while you're in your fighting stance, and keeping them clenched for a 30 count, and while you're still deep breathing, not holding your breath, that does an amazing amount of work for your body, and to expand your lungs and get some, your ability to intake more oxygen and hold more oxygen.
Absolutely.
The perfect one. You told me this one. Doing planks.
Yeah.
I hate you. Doing planks. You can do a plank while you're sitting at your desk. Doing work or whatever. If you got an extra 2 minutes,
Yep.
kick your chair out and do a plank.
Yep.
The along with that, since we're talking about sitting here on the computer, there's a lot of people who do have to work from home.
Mhm.
They have to do this stuff. Easy one, get an exercise ball. I know that's Hojo window because that's using a tool, but get you an exercise ball and sit on it while you're working.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
sitting
Yeah.
on it while you're working.
They make chairs, exercise ball chairs now.
Yeah,
But an
it's
exercise ball is
crazy the
perfect.
workout that gives you. Or kick your chair out and sit without a ball, without anything. Sit there at your desk and
In like a
like
deep
a
horse
squat.
stance or a
Yeah,
squat would work. Yeah, deep squat. Yeah.
squat, deep squat, horse
We could
stance,
go on for
something.
hours about conditioning though. So
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
talking my language right here because this is what
And you can do that at your desk.
absolutely.
Now, but what that brings in, I mean, you get the idea what I'm talking about now.
Mm-hmm.
That brings in the mental conditioning. That brings in the focus uh, on the mental aspect of wanting to do stuff. You have to want to do something. You want to have to get better. You want to do, you have to want to do that. And a lot of us don't, like me, because we feel like, oh, I can't. I can't do clean and jerks like Corey does because he's amazing. I don't want to do that because I don't want to look stupid, or they just don't want to do it because there's something stopping them. So the fighting in melee, in tourney, in all those, if you can fight in a tournament, you can do conditioning.
Absolutely.
Tourney is so much harder to go out there and do it than to pick up something and exercise with it.
To
You
pick it up
know,
and put it back down.
yeah, that thing that you want to pick up and put down is your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
That's your opponent. That kettlebell, that whatever, that floor you want to do a plank on. That treat it like an opponent and go after it like you would an opponent, and
Absolutely.
train that way that's your opponent.
The
So
way that
something.
I describe it is skill development. It's no different than like you go into a tournament or a melee and you are there to develop your skill, or test your skill to see how you are comparing to other people. And it's the same thing at the gym. I mean, you're not comparing yourself to other people, obviously, and I don't recommend doing that at the gym. But if you're there to learn something, you're there to practice something, and you're exercising, yes, you're burning calories, and that's awesome. But if you can change that mindset over to a skill development mindset versus I'm there just to kick my own ass and look and feel bad in front of everybody else, which is a poor mindset anyway. But you gotta make that switch over.
and that
Is kind of
and
what I'm hearing.
that is a very valid mindset, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just it's actually from exterior forces that causes that mindset.
Yep.
And anybody who needs help with that, reach out to people, and
Absolutely.
say, hey, I need help.
Duke
I've
Sean.
reached out to Corey. I reached out to Atilius
Yep.
for help, and a lot of other people for training help. I haven't done what he's told me to do, but I still reached out for it. I'm gonna do it,
Sure.
and it's I'm on it, so it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna happen. So part of that, this mental conditioning, in Black Company, we do something called stress inoculation, and stress inoculation. I learned in Aikido. In Aikido class, we had multiple attackers. You had 3, 4 people coming at you, and you have to deal with those threats. And in practice, we do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
We fight multiple people all the time. Yeah, you get beat up, so what? Yeah, you die a lot, so what? But there's going to be a point where you hit this calm state, which I call listening to the wind. Listening to the wind is when that one point, everybody's had it. That's why you're in tourneys. That's why you're in melee. Everybody's had it because it's addictive. You get in there and all of a sudden everything goes, time slows down, everything slows down. You see a Kurosawa, piece of rice paper and dust floating by, and it's you and another person, and you are in it, and and then it's gone. And then you're like, oh, that's amazing. I got to get that back. And then you go back in. And doing this practice helps you with that, because if you can deal with 3 opponents, 1 is not going to be a big deal. 1 is not going to be an issue if you can deal with 3. And what this does is you do it so much, you do it as much as we can when we practice, that you fight 3, 4 guys at a time, and you do that through usually the last part of our practice. And then we stop, everybody rests, we talk about it, we drink some water, and then you fight 1 person.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll instantly see the comfort level, they're relaxed, they're ready, they're primed to fight. And that's the mindset that what we call stress inoculation, what that does for you. And that's how we train. We're fighting for war, actually, because that's what we do. We're mercenaries. We fight in war. That's that's our bread and butter. So we're training to be able to go after 1 person or something, or go after 3 or 4 guys by ourselves. That's what we're training for. But another thing that you can do along with that stress inoculation, and this is a big one, is put yourself in detrimental positions in practice. Get on your knees, fight one-handed, fight out with your offhand, fight armed, fight legged. If you're a glaver like me, I'm not Duke Paul. I can't get grill to grill with you and total you in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I'm a small guy, or was. So I fight at A range, and I start in A range, and I try and figure out how to get out of it, or how to deal with my opponent in A range. And when you go up against a really good sword and border, and you're in A range, that's his bread and butter. That's
Absolutely.
exactly where you want to be on a glaver, And so we got to figure out how, and it's stressful. If somebody runs up on you and they run up on you fast, those wraps are coming, and they're going to become like a machine gun, and you got to get your way out of it.
Absolutely.
So doing that, and legged glaver,
Toast.
that is yeah. And every time you see some of the videos that I've fought in, every time I'm killed, it's because I got legged.
Right.
Because I wasn't paying attention to my measure and my range, and the people were fast. They got in, bam, legged me. And sometimes I've won off my knees, but you need to fight in detrimental positions so that when it does happen, it's second fiddle. It's no big deal. It's not a big deal,
Right.
And along with that, that goes along with tactics. That goes along with the multiple people thing, because it gives you mental stability in war. It gives you mental stability in tourney. And when you have mental stability, and you have what we call Zanshin, warrior's mind, which is calmness when you're fighting, you can start using tactics. I believe it was Duke Paul who said that he could see people moving before they moved, feigning before they fainted, and throwing their shots before they could do it. And I think it's because he had Zanshin. He had the warrior's mind. He was calm, and he had his situational awareness was there, and he could see all the little tells popping out that was telling him what they were doing, and they would kill him before they would even do it. I think that's what I'm trying to say. That's the whole thing about the mental conditioning is so important to have that. but you have to be able to train for it. And that's the hard part. How do you train for
So
that?
how do you? That's so. I was just thinking about this in my weight. I'm gonna relate to a weightlifting thing because I mean I don't have a lot of experience in tournaments for the viewers. I'm still pretty new to the tournaments to the tournament field, and in terms of fighting compared to some other ones. But in terms of weightlifting, he said the more that you can deal with in training, or like the more like you were talking about the hard parts, like fighting legged or fighting armed, fighting with your left hand if you're a right hand dominant fighter. The more stuff that you can practice and train to become second nature, or the more issues that you can take out of weightlifting, like in the Last Samurai, how he talks about like too many minds, mind of the people, mind of the sword, mind of this, mind of that.
And
The
that's
more
huge.
the more you can focus in on and take all those negative aspects of your fighting out through training. I'm not wording it the way that I want to, but I think you guys get the idea. The more that you can, more of those negative aspects you can take out, the more calm you're going to be in combat. Does that make
Absolutely.
sense? Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you're calm on the melee field, fighting multiple attackers,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just talking about in the combat, you're going to be calm and turning.
Absolutely.
Because it's what I'm trying to say is that if you're calm in a situation that most people would be freaking out about, then you would be calm against one person in the combat situation. I'm not talking about the mental aspect of turning or anything else, but in that fighting, in that situation. So the other thing, there's something that this is going to be this leads right into my number 3.
Okay.
So just so you know, there is a pedestal out there that you can lean on. There is a crutch out there, if you want to call it a crutch. There's a thing out there that we call a consort.
Yep.
That you can lean on, that centers you, that gives you that. My third one is your consort, including your consort in all aspects of your training and of the things you're doing in the game, in and out of the game, if you have them. And for those who are new and they don't know about consorts, consorts are people that you are fighting for in tournaments. They could be a significant other. They could be a friend. They could be someone who you just met who
Yep.
would like you to fight, come and ask you to fight for them, or you could ask if they have anybody to fight for them for a tournament. If you would like to go and have a consort for a tourney. Now in Crown, in the West, you must have a consort. And
I think that's pretty typical for all of them.
right. And it's really tough for young people that are in this game to figure to realize that your consort doesn't have to be your significant other.
Right.
It's nice, and because of the feelings and all that stuff that get generated when you're fighting for your consort. But
absolutely.
But if you have a consort and include them in your training, include them in your Pell work, in all aspects. Who knows? They may want to join you. They may want to learn how to fight. They may want to learn sword. They may want to learn clave. Even if it's just for them to learn it and not really do it, they still may want to learn it.
Maybe to understand what you're doing a little bit better.
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
Okay. I'm with you.
And finding the right consort is also tough on people, but when you find the right consort, it's like comfortable armor. It is like, and if you know what I mean, finding the comfortable armor, you're just like, oh, this is great. I'm comfortable. I can do the things I need to do. And it's just like, it's like a warm blanket when you find the right person and you have the right consort. And again, they don't have to be your significant other, but mine is, of course. It's my wife. So the when you're doing like your Pell work, have them there and give you pointers on your Pell work. They'll see things that you're not seeing, because they're out here watching from the sides or even from the back, or they can walk around. They can help you with your Pell work. the video critiquing, sitting down and watching videos of fighting. I know a lot of concerts are like, oh God, I'm so tired of this. But it does help with them helping you in your fighting. And it's huge, because once you guys start sharing that one small little thing of in fighting and stuff, you become comfortable with each other, and your body language tells each other things, and you end up becoming more and more gelled in one, and almost in one thought and one mind when you're out there on the tournament field. Okay. um, have them help you with building your kit. You build their kit, or you make their guard. They help you build your kit or your guard. If you can't make it or you can't build, then buy it or whatever. But include them in
In the
that whole
process.
process.
Okay.
So they know what you're wearing when you get hit, where you can get hit, that it's going to hurt, where and they'll see and know all these reactions, and they'll get to know you better as a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And a big one. This is a huge one, especially for me, because you all know I put my foot in my mouth a lot. A lot. Yeah, just check out my boobies post on the West Kingdom page. Yeah, that went over well. The talk to your consort about social media before you post. If you're going to post something, you're going to talk to somebody, you're going to answer to something that's really pissed you off,
Hope my wife doesn't watch this.
or any of that, you run it by your consort, or if you have that arrangement, if you have that agreement between you, because my wife has saved me hundreds of times, because I get mad and want to post something, and she'd be like, no, give me, put your phone down, we'll talk about it. And then, or she'll even read my post before I post something, and they'll say, no, you need to change this, this, and this. Believe me, people, it saves you a big heartache. I mean,
His wife has also saved me a lot of heartache in making posts on Facebook.
Yeah, but also what that does is that lets her or him or whoever your consort is know that you trust them, that you value their opinion, and your consort is a huge untapped resources that there's a lot of people don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them they don't. I mean, I've seen people get a consort and just have them there so that they'll look pretty when they fight, and they'll have somebody to salute to when they fight, and they don't give them attention. Mm-hmm. I've seen this happen, and that's not the way it is. That's not the way it should be. Even if they're not romantically involved,
Absolutely,
they may be friends or whatever.
Yeah.
They still deserve your undivided attention in all this time. They still deserve it. I've seen some consorts left after invocation at Crown. You go up, you say all these really, really nice things about your consort, and then you go and you challenge whoever you are going to challenge the fight, and then they leave. And I've seen them leave without their consort, just jump off out there to go get their armor on, or something like that. So those little things, they matter. All those little things matter. Yep. So one of the reasons why there's such an untapped resource, I think, is because I was the same way. I was the same person who didn't pay attention to them, who didn't do the things I was supposed to do, until it was pointed out to me, thank goodness, by a really kind lady who told me, because I didn't realize I was doing it. I was in tourney mode. I wanted to go get my armor on. I was ready to rock and roll. I wanted to go do my thing and rah! But that's the wrong mindset for me.
Right.
And luckily this lady told me. And then I really started getting involved with my lady in this capacity.
Absolutely.
And let me tell you, the reason this is so important is because they're your best spotters ever.
Absolutely.
They will sit there, they'll watch your fights, and they'll know who's good, who's medium, who's what shots they use, what's their kryptonite, where's their openings. They know. because they've been watching fighting videos with you. They've been watching training videos with you. They start seeing these things, or they may be a fighter themselves. And they see these things, and they can help you before you even go into a fight. They'll say, hey, I remember that guy. He was this, and this, and he does this. And he does the same opening shots every time. And they'll see other fights going on while you guys are preparing for your fights or you're done with yours and off resting. They're watching other fights. They're watching the brackets and seeing how that all pans out, and can tell you, oh, this person just won over that guy, so you may be facing him in your Eric. They'll hear the calls for your fights. Sometimes when you got your helmet on, you got your gear on, you're in your mindset, you don't hear the calls, but they will. And there's nothing more frustrating than standing on the Eric waiting for your opponent, especially in California when it's 100 degrees out and standing in the sun.
Absolutely.
And you're sitting there waiting and that takes you both out of your mindset, because one guy's irritated because you're not listening to the calls and you're not there. Another guy is feeling embarrassed because they didn't hear the call. Yep. That takes you either that. So that's another one. Your Consort also has an extreme amount of control and power, if you want to say it, of your fights. If you're fighting and your Consort sees a shot that hits you clean, solid, and you didn't know it, or you didn't feel it, or you didn't see it, they can call hold right there and say hold, and motion you over, and they can say, hey, that guy, he hit you pretty hard. He hit you pretty good, pretty clean on that shot to your body, or your shot to your head or whatever. And that happened to me. And I felt horrible because I fought this guy. He hit me. I hit him. He died. I didn't feel the shot. My Consort, my wife came and told me, said, look, you should have took that shot to the head. And I was like, well, what shot? And she told me. And I'm like, I really didn't feel it. But she said it, which
goes back to that trust thing.
It's gospel.
Yep.
So I went to that gentleman and I said, look, I'm so sorry. I didn't see I didn't feel the hit, but it was significant because as you guys know, Japanese have these things that hang down on the sides of their helmets. And if you get hit there, doesn't matter if you feel it or not. If you're hit there with a good shot, you have to take that shot because it's connected to your helmet.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happened. It was a valid shot, a valid blow. And so I felt horrible. I went over and I asked them if we could go and tell the list, hurry and get to the list and tell them not to take that as mine, to give it to him and whatever. And he said, no, absolutely not. He was extremely gracious. He said, I appreciate you coming to me. He said, but he felt that his shot was not significant enough for me to feel.
Okay.
And he said, you should feel my shots if I hit you. But I've taken shots on those Shokiro before, the things that hang down, those Shokiro. I've taken hard shots and not felt them before from opponents I didn't see in melee. Mm-hmm. That's why I have them, to protect myself. So that was, again, one of the things about this. Remember I was saying this all kind of comes together?
Absolutely.
It comes together from fighting melee to tourney. The same thing with that situation.
Right.
I didn't feel it. The guy said, go for it. He's like, no, please don't do that. Let's just leave it as is. But I absolutely wanted that guy to know that he was absolutely correct, that he should have won that bout. And that was because my Consort saw it and I didn't. Mm-hmm. And she stopped, and she tried stopping the fight, but it was already done. Because you know how fast these things go.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So when you have something like that's there, they are the center of your whirlwind. When you have all these feelings, all these things going on, all these stupid brain weasels, all this other stuff that's interfering, they're standing right there, and boom, they're your anchor. They're your pedestal. They're your crutch. They're someone who, even though a lot of us don't want to project that we're vulnerable, we are.
We are.
We're fragile. We're like little kittens. We're we're stick jocks. That's
I'm
what
a
we are.
delicate flower.
We're a delicate flower.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So if you have that person who is a rock right there standing there for you, then that centers you. Yeah, so that's why in the tourney when you're saluting your consort, that's your switch. That's your
Right.
switch that flicks the switch and sets the mood for your next fight.
Absolutely.
Um, so, but here's the thing: the big part of this, it has to be reciprocated. You have to do for them also. You have to be there for them when they need you. You have to do the things that they want to do. You may not want to sit there and hold a whole ream of cloth while they're spinning or doing their thing, or helping them go out and do archery with them, go out and do throwing weapons with them, go like in Black Company. We have all the fighters when we fight all day long. There's people on the sidelines that are taking care of us, water bearers, and all of our people are feeding us and
Absolutely.
taking care of us.
Hooah.
At night, it is our job of fighters to take care of those people, to go out with them if they want to go belly dancing or if they want to go partying. We carry their chairs. We carry their any of their warm clothing that they want to take with them. We bring water or whatever they would like to drink, and we spoil them because they are more important than us, because they allow us in war, in melee, and in the fighting. They allow us to do what we want to do without killing ourselves.
Absolutely. And
And
that's a huge thing in Black Company. Huge thing.
it's huge. And that's the same thing with your consort. There's no difference. You need to do the same things for your consort because it's 50-50. You have to do those things.
In fact, it's so huge in Black Company that the water bearers and consorts actually get part of our booty or the contract that we have for that war, just to kind of put it out. So like as mercenaries, we get some, and as Black Company, we get some pretty substantial rewards and booty for fighting, and we make damn sure that our water bearers and consorts get first dibs on everything that we put out there.
But yeah, and there's a lot. We get a lot of stuff sometimes, and there's a lot of us, Attilius included, a lot of other people like me, will take from a war one war coin.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. We leave everything else that we could have gotten for ourselves in there for all those people who are working the sidelines for us.
Amen.
And also for the younger fighters who don't have as much. And that's another thing about the consort is consorts talk. Consorts talk, and they talk about each other. And so if you're treating your consort the way that you should be treated, the consort's going to be talking about you, and they're going to be demanding the same of their own, of their consort, which I think is a really empowering thing.
Hold you to a higher standard. Absolutely.
I think all consorts should. Now, like I said, I'm probably going to get the ration for this, but it's true. And I'm telling you, man, there's nothing like having a lady like I have who is my rock. She's solid.
Mm-hmm.
And she is, she's the one who got me where I am now. And
absolutely.
And so, that goes right into my number 4.
Before you go into number 4, I'm going to give a shameless plug. If you guys want even more further information on consorts and stuff like that, we actually had our last episode. I'm going to completely destroy her name, Duchess Angharad. Close? Yeah. Lash, correct me.
I can't.
You can't even. I apologize. I know she's watching. She actually left a comment saying,
"Oh no, man! Now you got me all nervous."
Yeah,
she's
some
fantastic.
Great points regarding consorts to you. So props to that. I will post a link in the description of this video later to that video if you guys are interested in it. She goes into in-depth detail on being a consort and how it makes you a better fighter. So
Okay, you big jerk. I had that next on mine. I was going to say to plug that video, but all right.
all right. So plug that video in. Shameless plugging. Got to do it.
Right
And
on.
continue
And
on.
then,
Number 4. Let's hear it, brother.
okay, because I could go on and talk about her forever. She's fantastic. The number 4 is be honest in everything. Everything. Be honest. Be honest with your consort. Be honest with your peers. Be honest with your friends. You got to be honest, and you got to be honest about yourself.
With
You have to
yourself.
be honest with why you're really fighting tourneys. I'm talking about tourneys because war, we know why we fight war. Because we go out there because our bros are out there and our sisters are out there, and we just want to have fun, and we just want to, go out there and wreck fools in a nice way.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to be honest with yourself while you're fighting tourneys. And I know this might be a little controversial. Maybe it might piss some people off, but this is how I am. Okay, you need to know what your why is. What's your why? There's a fantastic YouTube video out there of what's your why that is just amazing. A whole much more articulate than I am.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see it. Just look it up. What's your why? And it's amazing. But if you're not honest with yourself, for the reason of you're doing this, why are you fighting attorneys? Why are you fighting in Crown or Coronet? Why are you fighting at Outland's tourney at Estrella War? Why are you fighting in Outlandish? Why are you doing these things? If you're not honest with yourself, if you're talking all this fancy talk, if you're doing things that you think people who you look up to want you to say or what they want to hear, that's not honest with yourself. And we know that. We see it. Everybody sees it when you're not honest with why you're actually fighting. Because there's a lot of guys out there that they think if they sit here and talk about all their chivalry and chivalric qualities and about this person and that person, about their consort, and they are all flowery with their things about their consort and other things. Although, don't get me wrong, that is a valid point, but that's later on about fighting for your consort, because the way that I feel for my wife, it sometimes feels that way. But let's face it, okay? We're there because we want to fight. Mm-hmm. And we're there because we want to win. Period. We're out on that tournament field to win, to face that guy, person across from you. Mm-hmm. And to, in a chess match, win and get a hug from the guy or a high five for a fantastic fight. To have people patting you on the back saying, "Oh, great job, great fight." Have people go, "Oh my God, that was incredible. That was amazing. That's such the greatest fight ever." Mm-hmm. That's why we do that. That's why we fight. And some people are going to disagree with me. Some people that's going to upset. But if you're not honest with yourself about why you're fighting, it takes away from your chi, from your center of power, from your core values and core power. If you're not honest about why you want to fight, because you want to be king. You want to fight because you want to measure where's your standing with your peers, with people that you want to emulate, and also people who you respect who are on the same level as you, or even the people you respect that's not on the same level as you. Mm-hmm. You want to win, and you want them to look at you and go, "Dude, fantastic fight. Fantastic fight." It's addictive. Oh, yeah. And you want that. Mm-hmm. And alongside with that is that, it's a selfish thing. We're selfish about this. We're selfish about why we're out there fighting. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying it's a selfish thing because, like we were talking about, that Kurosawa moment, where it's you facing another person in when you're listening to the wind, in that particular moment, that is all about you and your opponent. But ultimately, it's about you because you are now doing the ultimate expression of, to me, of self-love, of self-commitment, of thinking and doing something purely for yourself in that moment.
Yeah.
And because when you step away from your consort after you've saluted them and you turn around and that lizard brain clicks in the back of your mind and it clicks, your eyes narrow and everything swoops out and time slows down. The only people that are out there right then and there is you and your opponent. And we live for that. We live for that moment. Getting all pumped up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
Um,
I can relate to it in the sense that
and being saying it's selfish, it
yeah,
is.
it is, but at the same
Yeah.
time, like that's the moment that you've been training for. Like you've been, for instance, hitting the pel every day for
Right.
however
So,
long, however many fighter practices you've been going to, however many times you've met with these dukes that have been on the show, or how many times you and I have bashed and clanged and banged for that one single moment, and it's only
right.
going to last 30
Now,
seconds.
all those things you just said were you and me or other people going out to the Pell, going out to practice, going. Who went with you? Did your consort go with you?
Not me, not
Okay.
yet. We're working on it.
Well, no, well, yeah, but you have that's totally different. You guys have life things that sudden
Yeah,
cases of life you
yeah,
have to take care of. I'm talking about people who have, like my wife at home. Uh,
right,
you know,
right.
did they go with you, or did you go by yourself? Now, if your consort doesn't want to go, hey, no, because my,
Whatever. Yeah,
my wife is
whatever.
tired of it. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But did they go with you? No,
Yeah,
you went by yourself. Did you ask them to go? Anytime you didn't ask them to go, you
it's just
know.
you. Yeah, it was just you.
So um, it's also along that same lines. Having that consort there after that minute snaps you back to and puts it right in your face that, okay, yeah, I'm done with my selfish moment. Now I got to do the things that I have to do as a fighter and a person with honor.
Absolutely.
And um, and that's why some guys get really, really emotional after a fight. Um, because some guys actually will win a fight and they'll be so emotional they'll start crying, or some people will start crying, or they'll have be really emotional as they're looking at their consort, because some of them feel guilty for that selfish moment, for being that selfish, and they feel guilty.
I think that's the definition of honor.
you know yeah, and it is out now. I'm just saying some
Absolutely.
people.
All right.
Okay. um, but uh, it's tough because the way I look at it is I find it training, but elevating my consort is like icing on the cake. You know,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
they're moving up with me, that's icing on the cake, because
Absolutely.
I want everything to be about them anyway. And this doesn't fit all the molds. This is just one instance. And if you guys can take from this what you want, or you can say, "Ah, he's full of it." That's fine. Um, the uh, I don't know but we know. It's weird. It's very strange. I say we in terms of chivalry, because I am a master. I have been elevated to a master. I didn't ever think I would be elevated to a master. I wasn't looking for it. I wasn't chasing it. I had no idea about it. I had an inkling. because some people will do that, give you that knowing look, or they'll snicker at you about something when people were talking about elevations and stuff like that. And like I've told people, I'm not going to be a knight. I can't be a knight because, for personal reasons. But I mean, later on, if somebody wants to know, I'll go over that if you want. But we as chivalry know when somebody's wagging the dog. We know when somebody's truthful in what they're doing. And that's why you need to be honest with yourself. You need to be honest with your peers and your consort. And you need to, that honesty, once you get that honesty and once you get the other things, the stress inoculation, the melee, the training, all that other stuff, all starts to just come out of you when you don't even know it, in confidence, and people see it. And in chivalric terms, that could be considered franchise, because people see you and they know you. I mean, I can walk into an event, nobody knows who the hell I am. Nobody knows. I put that red armor on, and people
Everybody
are like,
knows
"Oh,
you.
I know, that's that guy, that crazy ass red samurai dude. That's that guy."
Doesn't take
You
his
know?
shots. Apparently.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
that guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so same thing, treating your consort and the way that you uh, are, we see that. And especially in the off moments, off the Eric, when you're in your camp, sitting around the fire and treating your consort like crap, we see that. And it goes into our brain if you are somebody who is on that path. Right.
Putting notches
Exactly.
on the board. Right.
Um, so to like old war dogs and tourney gods is what I call them.
Mm-hmm.
Tourney gods. I'm not going to say any names because we already know who they are, and I don't want to embarrass them. But these guys are amazing people. They're amazing fighters. They have their own reasons when they reach that level of fighting of why they fight. So I am trying to just talk about the beginning level and mid level.
Absolutely.
Now
a lot of those guys teach.
Yeah, they may have something that they're trying to do while they're out there. Maybe they want to try and fight, like Duke of Eck wanted to fight with two stick, and he wanted to see if he could win crown with a two stick, or that's a goal. That's something you can attain, something you can go for. There's other people who do it for other reasons. Maybe they came off an injury and they need to see where they're at, so they come out to fight because they need to see where they're at after an injury. So everybody has reasons, but the consort normally and really should be the reason you're out there. But we know in that one instance, it's not. We're selfish about that one instance during the combat.
Right.
So one of the people she's probably one of the most amazing people you ever meet. Yeah, I absolutely adore her. Her name's Mistress Elsie Hungrove. She's an amazing person. She does a lot of the stuff back behind the scenes that people don't know about. She does an incredible amount of work, and she has also been kind of helping me because I'm IR stick jock, and I don't know how to, she even helped me figure out how to do this, what I'm doing now, how to present what's in here out here so you can understand it, and I'm not just sitting here wagging the dog, But in her family, they have this saying. It's a quote. I'm quoting her directly, but she said, "So in my family, we define humility as knowing your true self-worth. Doing that requires a great deal of self-awareness. That self-awareness and self-assessment is crucial to not only becoming a peer, but being able to live up to the role when you attain it." That is like, I got chills reading it.
Yeah.
And because my chills are because I got to live up to that. every day, everything I do, I have to live up to that. So I got to have my why.
I think people think once you achieve that belt, the journey's over. But no, it's actually just beginning.
Oh, no, no, no.
It's just
Just
beginning.
like just like I've had several people, I'm not going to mention names, but I had a couple people who are knights say that they should have waited to take their accolade.
Yeah.
That they should have waited because they feel that they got it a little too soon. They
Okay.
felt that they should wait because they felt they weren't worthy.
Okay.
And also because once they got it, things changed. People
Mm-hmm.
changed in their opinions of them, interactions changed, you know, and also because what I just read you, is sitting on top of their head like a weight. When you're out now, this is something that I'm learning. When you're out at an event and you're out partying at night, and it's at night, what do people see first? They see that white belt or they see that white baldric. So if you're being an ass, it gets seen first, and
Absolutely.
it gets held above you forever. It's out
Mm-hmm.
there forever. So with that saying, that meaning, it's like this huge weight on you. I mean, I have my friends, people that I'm my peers, my mercenary friends, are treating me differently. Local fighters treating me differently, and I don't think I've changed. So it is a real thing. So with that quote, you have to be honest about your why. You have to be honest about who you are and what you're
Yeah.
doing,
Right.
because I'm telling you, this may piss some people off, but to me, false humility is another way to lie. Okay? False humility is another way to lie because you don't mean it. You can't act, in humility. You need to be that way, and I'm not saying, these huge expressions of humility, but just the small ones.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, we all like to brag. We all
Sure.
like to talk about what we do, you
Absolutely.
know, and which is a
Human
good thing.
nature. Yep.
And it's a good thing to let people know the things that you've done, and you know, but within reason.
Mm-hmm.
So that's so part of that humility and part of that positive nature that you get after doing all these different things and going in and getting ready to go into attorneys or whatever, that exudes out of you in franchise or in nightly behavior. Um, Part of what helps you do that is my number 5. Okay. Uh, my number 5 is get to know the game and the parts of it that are important to you by volunteering. I know this may be counterintuitive since we're talking about 5 methods to be a better fighter, but maybe not. Maybe this should be part of it, because you can become a well-rounded fighter by volunteering. By instead of fighting in your first crown, if you've never fought in a crown and you've never been around it, or even if you've been around it for a while but haven't fought in it, volunteer. Go to the list table. If you have ever sat at a list table and listened to the people run a tournament and how they do it, it's witchcraft. It is witchcraft. It is amazing because they can take 60, 70 guys, people, 60, 70 people, fighters, and do this thing where they put them all together and seamlessly fight after fight after fight after fight after fight, and correlate all the wins and losses and get all the way down to 2. It is absolutely amazing. So sit down with those people and learn how that works. What are the different tournaments? What are the different things? Because knowledge is power. If you know what's coming up and you know how the brackets work, you know who you're going to be fighting in your Eric. If it's split up into Erics and you have a group that you're fighting in your Eric, you know who you're going to be fighting. And you can watch those guys as they're fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but you know what happens down the road. You know all the ins and outs of it just by sitting there and volunteering at the list table a couple times. Volunteer to herald. Go out and do the litany before each bout. Give somebody a break who's been doing it for 20 years and who would appreciate to teach somebody.
Absolutely.
Get out there and learn what the litany is, so that when you go into your first fight in Crown, you know what it is. And it will be just like old hat. You know exactly what it is.
I think that's one thing. Sorry to interrupt you, but I think that's one thing that Uther was talking about too, and what we were kind of getting into before was that's just one more thing that you can check off that mental checklist of things, mental ticks that take away from your fight and your moment that we were talking about, that 30 seconds or that minute and a half when it's just you and your opponent.
Can you get there?
And that's just one of those things that's going to hold you back of not being prepared for that moment. So I could see why volunteering and doing all this stuff and seeing how the tournaments work and seeing how it all takes place is just one more thing that when you finally fight in it, you don't have to worry about that anymore because you've seen it. You've been there before.
Right. And not only that, but here's the big one. And this is for people who want to fight in tourneys and fight in, I'm trying to hurry up because I noticed we're running kind of late. Sorry. I'm really
it's okay,
sorry.
man. It's okay.
The big one is martial fights, martial in Crown. These people, the list table, the heralds, all these other people are running and doing all these things and working for 10 to 12 hours. I stood in a Crucible Crown with Rusty McMillan, Master Rusty. We sat in a Crucible Crown, which is a nonstop fight in 100-degree weather for 12 hours. We sat there and marshaled in one Eric and didn't take any breaks. Because he told me he wasn't going to sit down unless I did, and I told him I wasn't going to sit down unless he did. And we marshaled that entire event.
Wow.
And that person, Rusty, was there so that other people could fight. He's a fighter. He could have fought, but he was there for other people's fight. I could have fought, but I didn't fight in Crown at that time. But I believed that we should marshal or do something out there to pay these people back for them doing it for us. So all the times that you fought in a tourney or done something, look around you. You have heralds, you have list boys or girls or people pages that run the different cards back and forth. And if you're in the know because you've done that job, you do be a page, run those cards back and forth, see how they arrange them. You see those pages running away from a herald, that means you got 5 to 10 minutes for them to correlate those and get them back out, which means that's 5 to 10 minutes you can relax, you can drink, you don't have to worry about anything. You can sit and you can relax. As soon as you see that page run back, you know they're going to start calling pairs. You can have your stuff on, be ready, and be on the field waiting before anybody else if you saw that page run those cards out. And you wouldn't notice that if you hadn't done the job.
Right.
You may be, you may have saw it, but you
didn't know what it was.
Right. So marshaling, the other thing about marshaling, it's the second best seat in the house as far as I'm concerned, because one being the throne, but you're right in the middle of the fighting. You could see how everybody fights, what they do, how they do it. I have a a book of very full and very thick of the fighters that I've seen while I've marshaled. Every one of them gets something written down about them, how they fight, what they do, how they are as a person. And I've done that for most fighters I have marshaled at. I've marshaled almost, not all of them, but pretty close, every coronet and every crown in the last 6 years in the West. Wow. I've marshaled them. I've marshaled, and I've also marshaled in finals. Marshaled the finals of several crowns. And the reason I did that was because, one, I wasn't fighting, so I definitely wanted to help out and learn all those things. But also because I was right there in the middle of it, watching the fighting and watching the different people, and then I would write down notes on them. because later I thought maybe I'd want to fight in tourneys, or it helped me
Sneaky.
on the war field, right? So marshal, those, help people at events. Go clean the privies. How do you think the privies look after people get done fighting on the field and they go hit the privies and then they walk out and then that's it? There's somebody who takes care of those privies. There's somebody who works to keep that clean for you so you can use it. That also goes into franchise, because you're fighting, you're doing your thing, but you're also in there, back in the back helping with fees, back in the back of the thrones helping them, running, helping people wherever you can. That's also franchise. That also gets your name out there, gets who you are. But what that also does, going all the way back to the beginning, now you know everything that's going on at a tournament, at a crown. You automatically already know. So all that stuff goes away. You don't have to worry about where you're going to be, what you're going to say, who or how you go and challenge, where you need to be on what field, what the names of the fields are, what the original lineup is going to be. You will know all that, so that all that goes away, which allows you the mindset to fight.
Yeah.
And allows you to, like I said, your consort, all the things your self-awareness, your training, your tactics, all these different things all come together, and eases your mind. And then people are like, how are you so calm? When I fought my first crown, people were asking me that, how are you so calm? I'm like, I'm okay. I'm just ready to fight. I'm going to have fun. I'm smiling, laughing, talking to people, because I was comfortable. I know everything that's going to happen. I know how to do everything. Absolutely. Unless they call you across to be on the chivalry side, to fight on the chivalry side when you're an unbelt. Then all that goes out the window because you don't know what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, but you're on chivalry side now anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Now I'm on the chivalry side, so I don't have to worry about that.
Absolutely.
But what that also does is that also shows you, as a marshal, the knights and the chivalry people that you like what they do. And that gives you a way, or a person that you can go to say, hey, how do you do the things you do? How are you this person? How are you this way? And it gives you a way to speak to them, because you become familiar with them and you remember their names because of the litany that is done in each bout. You'll remember everybody's names because
you have to repeat it like 19 times.
Right. And you hear it and and you learn these people's names. And if you feel like you can't go up and talk to them, find somebody who did, one of the senior marshals out there that you're comfortable with. Go up to them, say, hey, do you know this guy? And absolutely, they'll know him, and get an introduction. Or find me, because I know about half the people out there anyway. Find me. I'll take you over and introduce you. But that's the way to find the people that you look up to, and possibly, if you're on the path, maybe become a squire or go that way yourself.
Duke Sean's going to get a kick out of this one, because I think I say it just about every single episode that I've ever had on this show or done for the show. Is I was talking to him about the show and all these huge names, including yours, of just getting them on the show and being like, getting a little bit starstruck of being like, why are all these people willing to talk to me? And he's literally like, so you mean to tell me that you got Duke Paul, Duke Uther, Duke Dietrich, Master Lash, Duke this guy, Duke so-and-so, Duchess so-and-so, because we can't pronounce her name. You got all these people on this show, and all you had to do was ask?
Yeah, it's weird how that works out, isn't it?
Speak of the devil.
And
I'm listening.
Every one of them, I don't think there's a knight out there that you can't go up to and ask them, hey, can you help me? I really don't. Or master, or any peer for that matter, Pelican, Laurel, any of them you can ask and they'll help. so that's kind of the whole gist of this for me, of how all that interrelates.
Absolutely.
How all, and that's what I was doing. This is all the stuff that I was doing, because I wanted to be comfortable in a tournament when I did fight. And to be honest, I fought in my first crown for the West because of she would be Countess Honora Reigns, I think, held me to a promise that I would fight for her in her crown if she ever went and became queen. And she did. And she held me to it. She said, now you got to fight in my crown. And that was my first crown.
Now you're hooked.
But I already knew everything that happened. I already knew everything that had to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And, so it was old hat, other than the fights themselves. At that fight, I went 9 clean, and had the greatest fight I have ever had in my SCA career with Duke Alfar. 3 minutes and 45 seconds of awesomeness.
Mm-hmm.
I lost, don't care, because that was just listening to the wind. 3 minutes and 45 seconds of listening to the wind. It was amazing.
Absolutely.
And I fought in some more crowns after that because some other royalty asked me if I would please fight in their crown. And I also fought in one for a gentleman who passed away who I just absolutely love, was Duke Ob.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to talk about that. I don't want to get bummed out.
Sure.
So it's and so all these things all come together, and it all comes out of you when you go to your first crown, or you go to your first tournament, or do something like that, and you relax. And people are like, "Oh, how many tournaments you got?" "Oh, it's my first one," and you're relaxed. Mm-hmm. So that's my 5. I I hope it's I didn't run too long or
I think you're up there with
too much.
I think you're up there with Duke Sean. Actually, he's probably the longest episode that we have. I had to split his video into two segments to get it on YouTube.
Wow, I'm shocked.
So anyway, we're gonna open it up to a quick Q&A. We did kind of run long, but that's okay. I'm not upset about it. But I have to work early in the morning, so we're only gonna do like 5 questions or so, and not including the 2 that I have to ask. I've been challenged to ask.
Here it comes.
So, as Sir Helga has challenged me to ask every single person on this show, out of your 5 methods, which one came to you the easiest, and which one was the hardest for you to train?
The easiest, I would have to say war fighting. Just war fighting, because it's war fighting. We go out there and we have fun, we laugh, we kill each other, and somebody kills you in a heroic way or smashes you or whatever. You find them later, get them a beer. It's war fighting. Mm-hmm. And in relation to tourneys, that's still easy, for me, right. Because of just the whole interaction, the whole the comparison of war fighting and tourney. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would say that would be the easiest. The hardest, I would have to say, would be my consort. And the reason I say that is because when you have a fantastic consort, you forget what they're doing for you. You forget, because they're solid. They're right there. They're always there. They're always doing these things. And sometimes you take that for granted. Sometimes you forget that, you need to do some stuff too. You need to make them feel as good as you feel when you're fighting. And I failed at that a lot. I still do, but I try and make up for it. yeah, by recognizing that I do and trying not to do that. So absolutely the hardest thing is taking care of your consort
Absolutely.
and just doing things that you're supposed to do for your consort. It is the hardest.
Well said. Well said. And now we're going to open it up for anybody in the Zoom meeting now. If you have any questions for Lash, go ahead and come on camera if you want to, or post them in the chat and I will read them out loud. Vigorbrand, go ahead, brother.
So I know I'm probably gonna get you in all kinds of trouble here, but I mean it's me,
boy.
right?
That's what
You
he
got to
does.
be used to it.
Wow, I'm surprised.
Yeah. Well, and you know, I still remember the first time I fought you in my front yard, and you got the same haircut. So you know, it's good to see some things don't change. Uh, anyway, so I know in a lot of mercenary households, right? There's kind of a stigma against people kind of taking the path that you took inadvertently or make it, you know, whatever, and doing things to improve yourself and improve not just you but you know your brothers in arms, right? What would you say to people that are having a hard time, I don't know, accepting other individuals trying to improve themselves or trying to better their fellows?
That that they're doing it. Most people like me. I had long conversations with my lady about taking this accolade, taking this elevation. Long and a lot of talks with my brothers in Black Company, you know, and and ironically from people I didn't even know who would come up to me at events because they heard about it. The reason I accepted was because some people need to be represented.
Yeah.
Some people need to be have someone that they can go to who understands what's happening and who can help them realize, like me, help them realize that the way to have fun in this game and to do the things in this game is to have fun. Don't sweat the small stuff. If somebody's rude to you, well, so what? You know, if you don't like the way somebody's doing something in your local barony, in your shire, in your kingdom, take their job, do it better. Show people you can do it better. If you don't take their job, then you actually don't get to complain, right? So
Fair.
for those of us who, like me, sitting out in a pup tent in the middle of nowhere, popping open a can of cold raviolis and, sleeping with no fire, those guys are the ones that I go to at events. I go out there and I find those people. There's many times Corey Atilius has seen me bring people into camp because they were in their camp with no fire. So we bring them into camp so they can have some fire, have some fun, get them some food. You know, we've actually moved people's entire camps into ours.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one year we had a horrible year at Estrella War. It stormed. It was just horrible. And there was these poor kids in the camp next to us, huddled in a truck because all of their tents flooded. So we took them over to our camp, got them a tent, got them taken care of, and hung out with them. And they stayed in. And so that's why I took it. That's why I did. What I did was so that these people can see, hey, we can have fun, we can do, but we need to do the things we need to do. And you have somebody that you can go to if you need to ask, and that's me. And I try and let everybody know they can come to me if they have questions that they don't feel comfortable talking to somebody else about.
Right.
And including my Black Company brothers and sisters, a lot of them came to me and said, hey, how is this going to work if you're chivalry? I said, because everybody that I talked to when I took this elevation, when I took this baldric, knows that, and the reason I took a baldric is because I have prior oaths. I have prior oaths. I oath to my wife, an oath to my family, chosen family and blood family, and an oath to Black Company, and that came first. I've already given those oaths, and I can't give another. So I absolutely can't get it. In my honor and the person that I am, I feel I cannot give another oath like that. And that's why I took the Baldric, so that, so that people who feel the same way as I do, mercenary people, or what people call fringies, or these other people, can come in and see that someone can attain some recognition, or do the things that they feel that they would like to do. I hope I didn't run on that one.
Wow, that was deep.
Sorry.
No, it's good. It's good. I was one of those people that asked that question, so it was one of my concerns of him getting elevated. So I was one of those guys. So.
Yep. We had long conversations.
Yeah, and now actually I am on that path myself. So it's how shit changes. Go ahead, Big Red. Sorry.
Mind blown.
No, you're right. I was going to say, I think both of you guys are, great examples of dirty mercenary scum.
Dirty.
Oh, God bless you.
Always liked the hell out of both of you, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, man.
Anyway, enough bromancing. Now on to the next question. This one is going to be a little bit of a deep question too. Has becoming a master change? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Has becoming a master changed your role of leadership in the company and those you train? I mean, you were already a leader. From Marie Alexander.
No, I absolutely didn't want it to. I didn't want it to change anything about me and my interactions with my company, with my tribe, because I'm an elder of a tribe of Black Company. I don't want that to change things, and it did. Even with the local fighters, I could tell it changed things. I didn't want it to, but it doesn't change what kind of leader I am, other than my social media interactions, my social media things. It did change a little bit because I am the first master in 29 years in the West Kingdom. Feel that weight. Feel that crushing weight. And man, when you mess up in the SDA, it goes a long way. It never goes away.
Yeah.
So I'm struggling and trying hard to remain the same person who received that accolade, and be the same person in my interactions with other people. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm going to grow. I want to grow. I want to do, so that I'm going to have growth. But in the core, I want to stay the same person with those people.
Yeah. Well said. All right, there are 3 more questions, and we are going to call it a night. So from MCAT Grassy, they ask, how do you remember to write down when you are marshaling or fighting, since you can't stop and write?
There's, well, you can do bullet points in your brain, in your mind. And you can't, there is a little bit of a lull in between fights.
Between bouts, yeah.
Yeah, when you're marshaling, and carry a little notebook. I had one. Everybody probably sees in videos of people fighting when I'm standing there marshaling. You'll see this weird little square thing inside of my casote, inside of my top. It's a notebook with a pencil and or a pen, and I will pull it out and jot down a whole bunch of things like like Duke Uther's what I call his snappy rap. Write that down, or something like that. Use a bullet point to remind you about that fight. And the videos are out there. The videos are out there. The fights
Absolutely.
that you see, they're out there. Grab those videos.
Another thing you can do on the side of the notebook, one thing that I do is the people that inspire me or that I fought that just totally kicked my ass, I actually give them the notebook and have them write what I can do better.
Fantastic idea.
Yeah, I think it's called like a Shiv Hunt book. One of those red belty guys usually have one, or they're supposed to have one. So I just stole the idea. So the next question is from Wayland, he says, they say, when I am in full focus of fighting, I have trouble with wide vision beyond about an 8-foot bubble. When wide vision on a battlefield, hard to focus close. Suggestion?
Okay.
Thanks.
So basically, you're having the opposite effect. You're focusing too small in tourney and not wide enough in melee. That's
Yeah.
what I'm understanding.
Yep.
So I do a breathing exercise whenever I feel like I'm starting to lose focus or whatever, or get tunnel vision, because I know what you're talking about. You're talking about tunnel vision. We all get it.
Everybody does.
Everybody does. What you do with tunnel vision is you do not look at your opponent. Okay? You don't look at your opponent. You let your vision blur. Take a deep breath, breathe out, and then let everything outside of your opponent focus. Don't let your opponent focus in your vision. And what that'll do is slowly, and you'll learn how to do it, they'll slowly become more and more in focus as you get farther and farther in your training, in your fighting. And then when they get into full focus, and you can still see the background in focus, what that does is that gives you situational awareness, and you're at situational awareness, and you're at the stress inoculation, because you're not stressed out, you're calm, and you're in that warrior's mind, and you can see all the tells that person has. It'll happen. It takes
time.
Yeah.
One thing about especially in a tournament setting, I'll expand on this a little bit better, is like when they're giving your introductions and the marshal asks if you're ready, you don't have to feel rushed, right? You can take all the time you want in the world. And one thing, I read this book recently by Mark Devine, and it's because I'm putting myself on the spot, I can't remember the name of the book, but it's about feeding your two inner wolves.
Yeah.
One's a good one, one's a bad one. He goes into, I know everybody's heard the analogy, so I'm not going to go into it, but he talks about box breathing. And this, I know that this is an ancient martial arts technique that monks have done throughout the ages. And you take, in that moment of getting ready to fight, and as Lash states, listening to the wind, take a deep breath in for 5 seconds, hold it in for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds, and then hold your breath again for another 5 seconds. And it's literally called box breathing. If you haven't heard of it, YouTube it or Google it and find more about it. And as your skill develops, you can actually go for like breathe in for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, hold it for 20 seconds, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. But
you're
it actually
so focused on your breathing, everything else goes away.
It centers you, it hones you in, and it gets you yeah. So I would highly recommend, if you don't do that, you should probably look into it, because I've been doing it, especially like at work or when I'm getting ready to take a test for anything, or Pell work or anything like that you're nervous about. Take the time to do that, and it'll help center you in and focus you on what's about to take place.
You can do that any part of the day.
Anytime, anywhere, at all. So Mark Devine relates it to, like, whenever you're feeling anxious or you're about to do something hard, or you're lacking motivation, or you're feeling down on yourself, do that for 5 sets. Breathe in, hold it, breathe out, and then hold it again. Do it for 5 sets, and you'll see a significant difference. And I've been doing it throughout the day, and I'm never not going to do it anymore. So when he's talking about breathing, I would suggest doing that, taking a few minutes. I mean, obviously you can't do that at mid-fight, but, between bouts or whatever, give it a shot. All right. Last question. And this one, I'm not sure about this one, but I'm going to ask it anyway, because I'm kind of bound to ask the questions. Henry asks, what would be the one thing you would like seeing being changed in the SCA if you became king?
If I became king, what would I like to see
changed in the SCA?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That is really tough. Inclusiveness. We have inclusiveness now. We're working towards it in leaps and bounds. But I would love for it to go even farther, to get out there where we don't even have to have it. We don't even have to use the word inclusive. We don't have to use any of that, because it's already been done. And in the West Kingdom, let me tell you, and other kingdoms I've been in, like at West Artemisia, out on here, they are amazing people. All of them. The West Kingdom changed my mind about a lot of things. And Artemisia changed my mind about a lot of things, and showed me some detrimental things in my own character that I had to correct. And so, absolutely I think would be inclusiveness for everything, LGBT, for all these other things. So yeah, if I could change anything, or I should say also inclusiveness for people on the fringes, what they call fringes. We've always not cared about that term. Some people don't like that term. We reveled in it. We reveled in the term being the fringy. But that was also me sitting there, not volunteering, not helping at events, not, just going to an event and playing.
Holding a chip on your shoulder.
With a chip on my shoulder, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which now, all Black Company, we all require that we go and we serve at least a couple hours at every event we go to. We all do it. We all volunteer. Absolutely. Because they know it needs to be done. At different events, who did they come to when they need some help? They roll right into our camp because they know we'll go if they need help or if they need the call. So I think that would be my thing. But the other thing is I don't want to say change anything, because I think we're already there, so I don't think it would be a change. I think it would be mainly carry it on, maybe. Just keep doing what we're doing now, and maybe even go and find other avenues to push that agenda, because I think we're doing pretty darn good as it is, but I think I would like to see that as a society as a whole, not just if I were king or something. I would see that as a society as a whole, because as a master, that's what I feel I represent, is the whole society, not just one kingdom.
Yeah.
I need to champion, and I need to help and do all these things for the entire society, the populace of the society, not just one kingdom. So I would, if I ever did win crown, I would want to get all the crowns, all the people, to start doing, or just keep doing what we're doing, or augment it somehow.
More of.
More of. Yeah, and because we're already doing so well right now.
Absolutely. I mean,
so I don't really think it's a change.
Look at look at the pandemic that we're going through right now, and I mean,
absolutely.
Look at
what you're doing right now. What you're doing.
What I'm doing, not just me though. Like, there's if you guys follow Sir Helga's known world TV guide page. I don't know the exact name.
There's a force of nature.
You look at that TV guide. There's literally a show like this every single night of the week for all of us to stay connected, to stay glued in, to stay tuned in.
After we're done here, I'm going to jump in and start watching the back feeds of all those.
Exactly. And if you guys don't follow that page, I don't know it off the top of my head. I should, but I'm putting myself on the spot and I suck at that. Check it out. I'm sure a lot of you already have. There's the virtual fighter practice pages. There's the SCA Coaches Corner for fighters. There's a virtual artisans page for people that aren't fighters. I mean, you just got to do a quick search for them, guys. And if you're looking for a way to stay connected, check out all these pages because they're phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Not just this one, but I mean, I love this one too, but but I mean, there's literally something out there for everybody. And I'm expanding on what you're saying. It's just more of this. Oh, thanks, Big Around. It's the Known World Entertainment Guide. So look that up. Just do a quick Facebook search if you don't, and you can find it literally something SCA based every single night of the week. And everything. I think the last one she posted, there's literally like 3 or 4 different things going on every single day of the week. I'm serious. Like, it's phenomenal. So check that out. Tune into it. Tune into the fighter practice pages. Duke Sean is working on a coach's corner, SCA coach's corner with a few other of the super Dukes out there that love teaching and want to share their knowledge.
Yeah, he's all right.
And all you have to do is ask. Hell, you don't even have to ask. You just got to join the page and watch. Like, Vesper D'Atlantia, she has the virtual fighter practice pages.
Another amazing person.
She's a phenomenal person too. They do round tables for males and females and all the community. I shouldn't say those, for everybody. It's not all inclusive to strictly the male dominant that you see a lot of in the society. That's changing too. So I mean, look at that.
Exactly.
Lash.
That's
I
my
mean,
point.
I know. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent, but you know, when I get started, I'm going on that path, so I got to get used to talking, right?
Because like a lot of people out there, we have people that we love that are not in life.
Absolutely. So everybody, if you're, as Lash is saying, freaking tune into these things, and you can stay connected to the SCA in these hard times, even though all these events are getting canceled. This is everybody's way of giving back to the game. I mean, and that's kind of how I feel about volunteering too. Like, expanding on your last number 5, is this game has given us a lot. For me, it literally saved my life. Like, I've talked to Duke Sean about this, and I know Lash knows this. Like, I came from a very rough past. Family was full of addiction, so on and so forth. I don't want to go into details over public social media, but the SCA and Black Company literally saved my life. And I know a lot of people can relate to that. So what's the best way for me to give back without holding some stupid chip on my shoulder? Volunteer, give back to the game, share the game with everybody that we have. You know, I mean, everybody on this video, that's why I do this, is because I want the people like us that were in the cold camps, that don't feel like they can get information, or they're afraid to ask, like I was, that information out there. So, and I know you relate to that on a totally different level. So with that, Lash, I'm going to give it to you one more time. Do you have any last short, just kidding, any last thoughts or advice?
You're asking me to be short?
Any last thoughts or advice that you could give anybody out there?
Advice to new fighters, medium fighters,
whatever you want.
And all the people, be patient with us. You know, you may see a knight who treats you badly, or someone you don't know what's going on in their life. You don't know what's going on at home. You know, you don't know. I missed out on 3 years of a friendship with a knight who was a fantastic man, and because he kept scowling at me every time I walked by. Finally, I got mad after like 3 years of this, and I got in his face, said, "What's your problem?" And because I had a chip on my shoulder, and he said, "I don't understand what you mean." I said, "Well, you keep scowling at me. You've been scowling at me forever. You know, why are you scowling at me?" And he reached down in his pouch and he pulled out some glasses, and he put some glasses on. And he said, "I didn't know who you were, so I was trying to see with it. I didn't have my glasses on." So he was going, at me. Yeah, and he didn't have glasses. He didn't have his glasses on.
Wow.
For 3 years. He's a fantastic knight, and I missed out on that friendship for 3 years just because of my own prejudices.
Yeah.
So you don't know what's going on with them, and most of them, if they have, if they snap at you or they do something like that, talk to them. Say, "Hey man, did I make you mad? Did I do something wrong? You may end up saving them. You may end up becoming a confidant for somebody who needs somebody to talk to,
Absolutely.
and
you're human too. But that word is that you're all humans. They have a white belt. They're just as much human as everybody else.
Yeah, and they're all of them. I mean, I've met some fantastic guys, and I've met some who weren't so nice, but it's still up to you to control your own feelings and control your own response to something. And so next time one of them is if you feel they're rude to you or whatever, just go and ask them, say, "Hey, did I do something wrong? Because, you kind of said this thing." And most of them will be like, oh man, I'm sorry. I wasn't even thinking about you. I was thinking about a fight. I was mad about this fight I was just in, and it starts with rapport. So that would be what my finishing thing to anybody out there. If you have troubles, contact me. I think I'm pretty easy to talk to. So if you have issues, you have problems, contact me. Let me know. I can't. If you want somebody, say you're on the path, say you want to be a squire to a knight, but you don't know who to go to. I know a lot of knights, and I know their personalities. I can help you find them. Or get you in touch with somebody who can. Same thing with. I know a lot of laurels. I know a lot of pelicans. Come to me or find another knight that you feel comfortable with talking to. But that's the main thing, is just talk, speak to them, go to them, say something, or have your friend do it. If you're an introvert and you can't approach somebody like that, you can talk to one of your friends and have them approach them, because we know that happens too.
Absolutely.
So that would be my last thing. Would be, this is a game I love. I love this game. And I love the people in it, because look at what everybody's doing now, how we're helping people. When the fires up here in Chico, we raised, a ridiculous amount of money to help these people who lost their homes during the fires. And now people are being helped here with events closing down, vendors being shut down. There's a page for helping vendors. And again, I'm on the spot and I can't remember it, but there's a page for helping vendors who are losing money because these events aren't happening. It's something I think it's SEA Vendor Help or something. You can find it. And that's what I think people need to know, is that, give us a chance to make you or help you love this game as much as we do.
Perfect. The hard part is getting them to shut up after you ask them.
I warned you. You know me better.
I do. So with that being said, everybody, Lash, from my heart, you know that I love you and thank you for being on the show. This was probably one of my top 3 favorites. So if that means anything.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. When you asked me, I was like, what? You want me to follow those guys?
There's a reason. And now the people of the SCA see what I see in you. I can guarantee that. So you are an inspiration to thousands of people now. You're famous.
Or infamous, depending on what side you're on.
Exactly. So with that being said, everybody, thank you for another amazing episode of 5 Methods to Being a Better Fighter. Thank you, Lash, for being on the show. And later up this week, a couple of shameless plugs to close this in, is we have Hansa, is that what you said earlier? Ukanza, Thursday. Phenomenal fighter.
Oh God, just come and listen to his voice.
And come and listen to his voice.
Just come and listen to his voice.
Helga will get a kick out of that one. Also, Duke Sean and Duke Branos and I are going to be working on a few things next month on injury prevention in the SCA. It's going to be huge. If you haven't seen my post lately on the SCA Coaches Corner, check it out. It's giving you a hint of what's to come in that group. We got phenomenal things coming to really change. The game is changing in a lot of ways, and we're excited to be on the front edge of it. So cutting edge of that. So with that being said, Lash, again, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for putting up with me.
Absolutely. So with that, we're going to say good night and see you guys Thursday for another episode of 5 Methods.
Good night, everybody. Love you.
Good night, guys.